The 1-2-1-4 dice set. Your next go-to strategy, or file it under G for garbage. Let's do some data collection and find out. Stick around. There's an endless debate in the craps community. Can dice setting actually create a player advantage? Between the grip, the load, the launch, and the landing, the sources of variation seem endless. But if we can minimize those variables with consistent technique, can we actually find an edge? How many rolls can a specific set survive before the dreaded 7 ends the run? We're putting the physics to the test and collecting the raw data. Is it skill or just plain luck? Let's find out on this episode of What Are the Odds? Hi, and thanks for joining me today. I hope you're doing outstanding. Today we're going to roll out the 1-2-1-4 dice set. We use a red and a blue die for data tracking purposes. And we will roll this dice set continuously until we roll a 7 10 times. We'll track each of our rolls in the meantime, collect all the data. Not too hot of a start rolling a 7 out the gate, but we'll see how this one goes. In the interest of time, we'll fast forward this and then do a data dive on the other side. See you there. So let's get into the data. Only 44 rolls versus the 60 we would have expected in rolling a 7 10 times, with the odds of producing a 7 1 in every 6 rolls. So the distribution here pretty much overall aligns with the curve. but the 1, 2, 1, 4 dice set would really seem to favor the 7. The 7 being produced 22.7% of our rolls versus its expected 16.7. Our longest roll streak was 10, so there's nothing to write home about here. And with our rollout producing a 7 right off the bat, it almost seemed like it was foreshadowing. So let's take a look at the number of times each of these actually rolled. The 7, again, we expected with 44 rolls to only see it 7.3 times. It did appear 10 times, ending our run. The only numbers favorable to the standard were the 6 beating its standard by 2 rolls and the 5 meeting its standard barely. The rest of our numbers fit the distribution curve fairly well, but none of them performed up to expectations. Our least rolled number was the 12. It did not show up once in this 44 roll count. And our numbers beating the 7 were none. We had nothing there that outperformed the 7. The 7 definitely took the cake in this 1, 2, 1, 4 dice set. Our worst numbers here were the 12 and the 3. The 3 was less than 50% short of showing up to its expectations, only being produced once in the expected 2.4 rolls. And then you can see our most and least red and blue dies here, the most being the number 3 and the number 4 for the red and the blue respectively, producing 21% and 25% of the time respectively. And then the least rolled numbers were the 4 for the red and the 5 for the blue, rolling less than 10% of the time. So let's take a look at our sister set. With the distribution curve we saw mostly fitting the bell curve, we see the similar thing here with the sister set. Nothing standing out other than the 6 and the 8. That was thanks to the 6. But, that essentially met expectations, just slightly favorable to it. The 5 and 9 were basically right on expectations, rolled 9 times as opposed to 9.8. And the 4 and 10, again, same thing, met expectations, 7 versus 7.3 expected. The 3 and 11 falling short, and the 2 and 12 falling short. And the 7 outperforming, if that's what you want to call it, but it was definitely favorable to its expected distribution curve. And looking at our hard ways, we were kind of mixed here on our hard ways. The 4 and the 6 outperformed expectations. The 8 and the 10 never made an appearance. So of the total 12 rolls between the 4 and the 6, we were able to produce 4 hard ways. And then the total rolls of the 8 and the 10, there were 9 of those, and we produced not a single hard way. And lastly, our horns. None of these actually met exactly to their expectations. The 2 and the 11 were within 1 roll of meeting their standard expected number of rolls over this 44 throw run. The 3 and the 12 were more than a roll short of meeting their expectations, so those stay in the red. We expected 7.3 horns, we only saw 4. And there were no seal horn beta horns, ultimately just costing us more money. So in summary, it looks like the 1, 2, 1, 4 dice set favors a dark side strategy or a come out pass line favorability, producing a 7 23% of the time versus 16.7% of the time. No number rolled better than the 7 in this roll set. The 6 did show up 2 times more than expected, while the 5 showed up as expected, and no other number met their standard expected number of rolls. We got mixed feedback on the hard way performance, with the 4 and the 6 being advantaged, and the 8 and 10 remained dormant. And the horn rolls, those guys just came up short. They appeared less than 10% of our total 44 rolls. We expected to see those 16.7% of the time. Those roll 6 different ways, just like the 7 does. And we did not produce 1 Saba within the 4 horn rolls that were made. So that'll do it for this episode. Thank you for joining me. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one of What Are the Odds?